Welcome back, everybody. As a new school year begins, thousands of children living with disabilities will again this year not be able to go to school. As many as 70% of children with disabilities countrywide will not be placed in special needs schools due to a lack of space in suitable schools. One of the most affected provinces is the Eastern Cape, with over 3,000 children with special needs currently out of school. And our reporter, Lerato Thipa, is one of the schools which caters for such children, and she's joined by the teacher at the Fontaine Primary School, Velma Wenzel. A very good morning to you, Lerato. Thank you so much for joining us. It's over to you. What you got for us?
And be inside a classroom in a school situated in the heart of Helenvale, an area really marred by high levels of unemployment, illiteracy, and a lot of poverty as well. But like they say, every single cloud has a silver lining. In this school, there's a special lady called Miss Velma Wenzel, who is really climbing mountains by making sure that she provides education for children with special needs. Very good morning to you. Tell us briefly, it's the first day of school, but what are some of the challenges that you face as a remedial teacher on a day-to-day basis?
Fontaine Primary has been the one school in the northern areas where we attempt to suit the needs of all these learners by teaching them according to their abilities, their cognitive abilities, what they know, and not according to age or grade. Almost 25% of our entire enrollment are learners who have been identified with intellectual barriers, and some of these are ADHD, we know the hyperactive children. We have FAS learners, fetal alcohol syndrome. We have ADD, the attention deficit, and some other learners with behavioral and emotional problems. Some of the biggest challenges that we are facing is that these learners, they cannot work on their own. They need constant support. In a mainstream setup, it is almost impossible to work with them as our classes are overcrowded. If you, for instance, have a class with 40 learners to 45, then you have 10 of these learners, so it is impossible for the teacher to get to those learners. So these learners are here on a day-to-day basis learning nothing, and it's really a big challenge.
Now, sorry, some of the issues that are also faced by people in those areas, like we spoke last time, is obviously issues of unemployment, high levels of poverty. What role do the socioeconomic issues play in making the situations even worse for these children?
We have our area, the learners come from the underprivileged Helenvale area where gangsterism, crime and violence are rife. So these factors have a huge impact on their education. Factors like malnutrition, crime, violence, unemployment, overpopulation. Some of these homes, we get a 2-room house where there are almost 14 people living in the house. That makes it impossible for a learner to do homework or to do any schoolwork. Then we also have vandalism, negative academic self-concept, very low levels of drive, low confidence, accumulated scholastic backlog, to mention a few. And these factors also contribute to failure in school and early school dropouts for many of these learners, then fall prey to the social evils outside, and many of them face a premature death.
Now, you wrote an interesting thesis paper where you focused on how to teach teachers how to cope with learners with intellectual disabilities. What are some of the challenges? I know that I read in your paper that you spoke about a lack of resources and trained teachers. What are some of the other issues that are facing teachers in the classroom setup now to deal with these learners?
Yeah, I've done my research in the surrounding schools at some of them, and many of the teachers agree to some of the issues and challenges where they feel that the curriculum, the current CAPS curriculum that we are doing, is a bit too loaded and too heavy, and it's actually a daunting task to include the special needs learners. Also, some children are extremely aggressive. They find at their schools because of the violence outside as they model the gangsterism and whatever they see outside. Definitely parental involvement, the don't care attitude of parents, not all parents, some parents, where they come to school at times, they don't even know which grade the child is in, what the child's teacher's name is, or they even lack to come and fetch learners' reports at school at the end of a term. Some teachers also mentioned the decline of morals and values. Small things like thank you and good morning, good afternoon, please. These are the things that lack, and these are the morals and values that we need to instill as teachers and as parents at our homes.
In 1994, at the Salamanca conference, there was an agreement by government of an inclusive education where these schools these kids are absorbed in mainstream schools. Do you think that this inclusive education, which was proposed over 20 years ago, is still possible in our time right now?
Well, Lerato, the Salamanca conference was held in Spain in the Salamanca, the city of Salamanca. In 1994, it was a world conference where the emphasis was on developing inclusive education systems that firstly accommodate all children, regardless of their physical, intellectual, social, emotional, or disabilities. Any of these conditions, and this should include these policies should include actually disabled children, street children, gifted children, working children, children from remote populations, children from linguistic, ethnic or cultural minorities, and children from other disadvantaged areas. And secondly, these systems must also recognize and respond to diverse needs of these students. And we must also take into consideration that the Salamanca conference or the Salamanca statement was the brainchild of first world countries.
Well, sorry, just to break you there, we obviously have to cross to other provinces as well, but I know that we'll be chatting to you also later on in the other news bulletins. So from us in PE, it's a wrap. It's back to you in studio.
Well, Lerato, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. That was Lerato Thipa, reporter in the Eastern Cape, speaking to Velma Wenzel from Fontaine Primary School. Well,